My new paper computer game is called Tree. So, this is you're climbing a tree. What do you do? These are branches. You can climb up out onto them. You can go to the right or to the left, or you can keep climbing straight up towards the top of the tree. You can see I've numbered the screens. This one is number 1. If we were to climb onto this branch over here and we follow that, that takes us to screen 1A. So you can see it's kind of labeled by how high on the tree it is. So there's you once again. You're climbing out onto this branch and you can see this squirrel. He's got his little nest over here. He's guarding a little pen in his nest. So if you want to try to mess with the squirrel, you can get the pen away from him, or you can choose not to bother him and go back. If you go this way instead, you can get to 1B, which is over here. This is 1B, so that's you. You're climbing out onto this branch. See, this guy over here, he's got a spear and he will shoot you if you get too close. So you have to try to find a way to get past him if you want to get past him. He also has extra spears over here on this little stand that he's built. You can also bypass him and go down here to like following this branch. So this is a balloon. So I guess this is like a kid's balloon that, you know, sometimes they let go of their balloons and it drifts up into the air and gets stuck in a tree. So that's what has happened here. So you can go get the balloon. There's also like an acorn over here hanging from this branch. But if you try to climb down onto this branch and try to reach it, the acorn is too high. So you're just going to have to get over here on this branch and get past this guy. But yeah, like I said, he does not look too friendly. So if we go back to green 1, once we're done messing around on the 2 side branches, we can keep climbing, venture deeper, or in this case higher. And that brings us to screen number 2. Now here on screen 2, things are going to start to get interesting. So you've got, well, there's you. The tree sort of branches into 2. We have multiple branches going off in different directions. And you have here in the middle, it looks like some sort of a gigantic, like, gem or like a jewel. It is glowing green and there's like a hole in the middle of it. So you can actually fit inside that hole. So if you choose to, you can climb inside that gem and there is something in there for you. If, however, instead you go to the right, that brings you to 2A, which is this page. So depending on which branch you follow from here, it takes you to different branches on page 2A. Here you've got, like if you follow this lower branch, it takes you to this sort of miniaturized version of this glowing green gem. That's weird. Over here, you know, if you take the upper branch, it takes you over here. And this is like a computer. It's like a legit computer connected to the internet, but it's like growing out of the tree. But it's not the ordinary internet. Like what you find on this computer is some interesting stuff, and it seems to pertain only to this tree. But yeah, still a source of helpful information for sure. So if you you can try to mess around. You can get this gem if you want to. But if we go back to screen 2, here we are. Well, this big gem is still there. There's like a weird hole. Like if you want, you can go inside that hole, or you can go this way to the left. If you do that, if you go that way, that brings you to 2B, which is this page over here. So here we are on 2B. That's us. And there's a little house here. There's not really much up here. This upper branch, if you follow that one, that just takes you up here, and you can just get a little rock, which is stuck to the top of that branch. But if instead, you can go inside this house. If you do, that takes you to, well, the inside of the house, which is over here. Like the insides of places are not numbered, so this is just like the inside of the house. And there's this like goblin dude living here in the inside of the house. He's like, nah. But you know, don't be racist against goblins. This guy's actually friendly, so he can help you, but he might be alarmed by your presence at first. I mean, you are just kind of showing up and you know, coming into his house without warning. So, you know, I don't know, maybe try knocking next time, dude. But yeah, so in here we can find he's got I was gonna color those in. Those are supposed to be like greens, because, you know, goblins eat greens. And he's got a cupboard over there. That's his bed. You know, this is his table, which the greens are on top of. And over here, he's got a shovel, but not really a shovel, just like the top of a shovel. But yeah, if you go back to 2, you can actually go inside of this this jewel over here. If you go inside, we find, well, it says, "Be gone, mortal." You know, sometimes squirrel deities just want to be left alone, right? You know, they just want to go about their day. Anyway, that's you. You're in here, and it says, "Be gone, mortal." I know you see the staff. You know, I know you PCG people. You're gonna see a staff, and you're gonna immediately assume this is gonna be a version of Ginkis, but, you know, don't be racist against like people with staffs, okay? You know, not everyone with a staff is Ginkis. Sometimes a staff is just you know, staffs are an item that just exists in life. You know, you can just get a stick with a thing on top of it, and it's a staff, right? I mean, I guess, okay, granted, they don't all shoot electricity, but this isn't the same electricity because it's like blue. Okay, so this is like, you know, not Ginkis, okay? You know, just to clarify that. Also, it is a squirrel, so, you know, so Ginkis usually not a squirrel, but although then again with Ginkis you never really know. But anyway, he's sitting here. It's all green because we're inside of the green glowing jewel, and you can see, you know, these four, you know, giant floating in midair acorns, and they are emanating different kinds of energy. This one almost seems to be flaming. This one, like, feels like there's, like, gas coming off of it. This one seems wet. This one is sort of, like, you know, earthy. And these are all just floating in midair, and he just wants you to go away and leave him alone. You can try and mess with him if you want, but be warned, he is very powerful, so I do not recommend it. But if you make him an offering... I wonder what he might want. Regardless, if you make him an offering, some interesting things might happen. But okay, coming back here to 2, we are going to... So we've already explored 2A and 2B. So the only place left to go is up. If you climb further up to the top of this area over here, we can finally come, dun dun dun, to 3, where we find the top branches of the tree have, you know, sort of folded over themselves, and there's a castle at the top of this tree. Now, this is not a full-size castle. This is like, I don't know, a kid's play castle or something. It's not literally a kid's play castle, but it's like a size that a kid's play castle, you know, like one person can fit inside of this, in other words. So, but yeah, it's sitting on these 2, like, branches that are kind of like folded over. If you go inside of here, yeah, you might expect there's gonna be like a boss fight. You know, some epic monster is gonna be there. But no, it's just a castle. So if you go inside, you find just the throne. That's it. The throne, and the throne says Squirrel King. There's a crown and there's a scepter. Obviously, you can take them, you can put them on, you can do whatever you want. Over here is a book which details the duties of the Squirrel King. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, if you want, you can become, you know, with this crown and this scepter, you can become the Squirrel King, and you can kind of basically become the king of this whole tree. But, so yeah, like, all the other inhabitants will have to obey you after that if you want, and you can mess around and do whatever you want. But by the way, there is actually another secret area that we haven't seen yet. Because it turns out that if we go all the way back here, we can see that actually we can climb down the tree. You know, you might not have thought of that at first, but if you did, You can, at any point during the game, you can always climb down the tree. Now, if you climb down the tree, that actually takes you to the secret area because, you know, who would think of climbing down a tree? So this is like some deep secret lore I'm showing you right now, all right? Shield your eyes. This might be too intense for you, but okay. So if you climb down the tree, that takes you down here to, you know, the base of the tree. You can see the roots. They're sort of like growing into the ground. This guy is hanging upside down from one of the branches of the tree, and he's saying gonk. He's like, gonk. And he is belligerent. He doesn't like you, but, you know, like, he also remembers that when you first climbed up the tree, that you beat him up because he guards the tree. He's trying to like stop people from coming up the tree. So when you first came up the tree, you beat him up. So now he's kind of scared of you. So he doesn't want to get beaten up again. But he is still trying to guard the tree a little bit, but you're already on the tree. Regardless, but yeah, this is actually sort of inspired by a short movie I was trying to make one time with Kurt. We were trying to make a movie where that was filmed all in trees. And basically this game is sort of like inspired by that movie. So like originally Kurt was going to play this guy with like gonk in it. We did film like one scene of it, but I think that footage has been erased. But so yeah, this is basically like this, and it taking place in a tree is what's left from that original film. But yeah, it turns out that this is actually not the end, because if you actually like sort of dig down deep into the ground, see, if you got the shovel head from the goblin's house and you combine it with like a scepter or a spear or any other stick, you can make a shovel, and then you can dig down through the ground. So by the way, you're on sort of like an island over here. This is sort of like just floating, you know, in a void. So if you dig down through the ground over here, that takes you down here to, this is -2. The previous screen was -1. So yeah, this is the chunk of earth that's sort of like floating in the void. Here's the roots of the tree coming out of it. And by the way, there's my dead three-headed alien buried in the ground over there. He's kind of a, you know, he kind of shows up, you know. Anyway, so this is Meristem the Sage. He is another character from the movie. He's got like ivy for a beard, and he's wearing like a green robe. He's got a little pot so he can cook. There's a flame over here so he can cook stuff on his pot. And if you come down here, like, this guy can actually be your mentor. He has experience with these trees. He's like a wise old sage, and he can give you experience, like advice on, you know, how to proceed through the various challenges of the game. There's a lantern over here hanging from the bottom of the roof, but something interesting is going on even below here, because there's like all this sort of like pink energy that's sort of like coming up into the roots and sort of like feeding them. And it turns out that all of that is coming from this. This is sort of like, I don't know, it's some sort of like weird shimmery, like almost like a pool. Like, it would sort of make sense because you would expect like roots to be reaching down into water, but here they're just floating in a void over this pool of, well, it's not really water. It almost looks more like a reflection in a pool of water. You know how if you're looking at a pool of water and it's a sunset and like you can see sort of like orange and pink kind of stuff, like just reflecting on the pool? It's like this is just the reflection. That's what it looks like. But, you know, so it's all shimmery and it's beautiful. But all this sort of energy that's sort of like pink, it's like little like shimmery orbs almost, or little dots, are sort of like rising up and going into the roots of the tree. But yeah, that's my new paper computer game, Tree. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I think this makes a pretty cool tree. What do you think?